Hello and welcome to the Surviving to Thriving podcast series. I'm your host, Casey Miller. So the purpose of this podcast is to provide you with the knowledge that you need to become the CEO of your health and become the best version of yourself. I really, truly believe this. The top 3 things that you would ever invest in your life are going to be your health, who you surround yourself with, and acquiring more knowledge. If you continuously pour into these 3 cups, I promise you, your life will change dramatically for the better. Now, luckily, this podcast will pour into your health and knowledge, but if you want to surround yourself with like-minded people who will push you to win, go ahead and join our Surviving to Thriving community. We'd love to have you. The link is going to be below in the description. Before we get into our episode, I want to take a quick second to thank our sponsor, Legion Athletics. I've been in the game for a long time, and it's really hard to find supplements that you can trust while also tasting great. I believe Legion is a perfect mixture of the two. They're backed by science. Everything is clearly labeled on the bottle. And from my own personal experience, everything does really do taste really great. So if you want to get your own Legion supplements, use the code THRIVINGON, one word, to get 20% off your first order and double reward points. Now, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Beat the Stress Masterclass. Again, this is going to be a recording that we did in the Surviving to Thriving community. And this is going to be the second part. If you're just tuning in on part number 2, I highly recommend pausing this, going back to part number 1, so that way you really can understand stress and how it does impact your body, how you look, feel, think, everything. And then once you get a really good understanding, then that's when part number 2 is going to really wrap things up into what to do about that to help you live your best life, look, feel, and think the way that you know you deserve. Get really personalized with this because it's going to be different for everybody and give you the knowledge you need to get started to be more resilient to stress, to beat the stress that I think most of us really identify with. So with that being said, let's go into the episode.
Overview, day number 1 is understanding what stress is, understanding how it plays a role in how you look, feel, and think, and identifying some symptoms of high stress and cortisol. Okay. Day number 2 is know how to start implementing basic but effective evidence-based methods to reduce cortisol. Identify what specifically you need to focus on to help you finally start looking and feeling the way that you want despite being busy, and then our free gift at the end to gain clarity. So a quick recap before we start getting into it, guys, is let's think back to what at the very end of day number 1, where I was like, okay, so we understand how what stress is, but how do we kind of really just simplify it and make an analogy that's really understandable? My best analogy that I can give you is thinking about the body as a bank account. Okay, we have good stress and we have bad stress. We have things that take out of the bank account and we have things that add back into the bank account. Now, stress is not bad, just like taking money out of your account is not bad to make investments or pay for your house or buy food or go on adventures. But if you do not have a structure or a game plan to continuously put things back into the bank account, to keep that bank account healthy, to keep you out of debt, that's when, excuse my language, but shit hits the fan. That's when the body becomes resistant to not only losing fat, but also you're going to start losing muscle mass. Your metabolism is going to start slowing down. Your hormonal health is going to go to crap. Your gut health is going to go to crap. A lot of times people's mental health goes to crap, and they are feeling like they're being met with an extreme amount of resistance and they're not seeing the results that they're looking for because their brain, their body is just pissed the frick off because it's just too stressed to do anything. Right? That's why so many people, no matter how hard they work, they just can't see the results that they're looking for to look good, naked, and feel great and get stronger in the gym because the cards are stacked against them. Okay, so we're thinking about this as a bank account when it comes to stress. Just wanted to pre-frame that. So going back to what we were talking about before, bad stresses, we listed those off. So let's go over some of those again. Let's go in the chat box. What are some of these stresses that subtracts from your account? Put it in that chat box. Okay, allergies definitely can. We listed a ton. Come on, work stress. There you go, Sabrina. What are some things that take out of the bank account? Injuries, yes. Not enough sleep. There you go, Stacy. Good. What else? Unorganized plans or lack of clarity, 100%. Ooh, there we go. Now we're coming in. Lack of good foods, work stress, staying too long in bad relationships. I love that. Poor diet. Yes, Lori. Sabrina, not enough calories. Exactly. Stress with finances, right? Yes, 100%. If you're not in a good financial position or you don't have clarity on finances, it's very overwhelming. Vacation, 100%. While it is a good thing, vacations, you have to travel, you eat foods you're not used to, your environments you're not used to. Sometimes sleep is not great. You're drinking alcohol. You also, sometimes if you're managing the family, you have to keep track of that. It can be a stress. Dehydration, 100%. I love it. There we go. Okay. So I did create a short list. It's not just this. There's a long list of stress, and stress is very subjective in some cases. Like in some stresses can be very subjective towards people. So it could be stressful for one person and not another, but these are just some ideas right here. So high intensity workouts. So Orange Theory, F45, CrossFit, Insanity, or just trying to push as hard as you can and trying to breathe as heavy as possible all the time. You're basically doing a stress test to yourself every single time you do that. Doing that periodically every once in a while with proper recovery, not a bad thing. But if you're continuously doing that and adding other stresses that take out of the bank account, that's not great. Decrease in muscle mass on the body. If you're continuously not eating enough and not prioritizing protein and you're doing a lot of high intensity workouts, hold on one second. I'm just going to make sure that we're muted. Again, reminder, anybody that's coming in, make sure that you are muted. So again, going back to decrease in muscle mass on the body can cause a lot of stress. Your muscle mass is a longevity organ. Okay. This keeps your metabolism nice and high. This also keeps your hormones in check. This also makes sure that you have a long, independent life. Also, having a lot of muscle tissue helps regulate blood sugar, which is also another huge stressor. Remember, when we are stressed, we release a lot of insulin. Insulin has a huge hand in blood sugar regulation. Okay, so if we're chronically stressed because we're trying to release that fast energy, remember stress, let's go back. Okay, recapping this just to make sure if you weren't here yesterday or you need a reminder. When you are extremely stressed, stress is stress. Doesn't mean if it's perceived stress or physical stress. So perceived stress is like work stress or your bad relationship or you're overwhelmed or finances or physical stress, lack of sleep, poor diet, not working out, being sedentary or working out too much, not eating enough the right types of foods, all these different stressors, those are physical stress. It does not matter what stress is. Like into your brain, it's just stress. You can be chased by a lion or missing a deadline for work. It does not matter. It's just stress to the body. You cannot differentiate. And so when it is too stressed, when it does get stressed out, what it's going to do is like, okay, I'm being chased by a bear right now. And then so it goes into performance mode because if I'm being chased by a bear, I've either got to fight, flight, or freeze. And that requires a lot of energy. And I've got to be on point and I've got to be cognitively functioning well. I've got to be thinking fast. My muscles got to be able to twitch fast and produce a lot of energy and firepower really fast to go where I need to be or possibly fight the frick out of this bear. Again, it does not register if you are dealing stress with kids or a death in the family or a divorce or anything like that. It just reads bears in front of me. So it needs quick energy. The quickest energy that your body can use is called glycogen. That comes from sugar molecules and carbohydrates in the body. It's one of the reasons why carbs is amazing for stressed people and also athletes. Okay. But once the body is no longer has any glycogen to use to produce energy, it starts using your muscle tissue, proteins. Because remember, fat, just like that bear, if it's in hibernation, it acquires a lot of fat for survival. and also breaks down extremely slow. Well, your body goes into survival mode if it's going in fight with a bear. So it's like, hey, this fat is my survival mechanism. I'm not going to burn that. And also it takes a really long time for me to break it down to produce energy. So I'm not going to use that. So now it's continuously using only sugar, insulin, releasing insulin to help produce that glycogen to get quick energy. And then when it runs out, it's still pumping insulin, guys. It's still pumping insulin, but it's also now using your protein. So that's why a lot of people get that skinny fat. They hold on to the fat because of survival. They start breaking down muscle tissue because it's quick energy as well after it runs out of glycogen. And then also it's continuously running insulin. So that's why stressed people, when they don't have a lot of muscle mass, because it really does help with blood sugar regulation, it makes you more insulin sensitive. That's when it adds a lot of fuel to the fire, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, you guys? I can explain it a different way, but does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so now you see not having enough muscle mass on your body, not strength training as a stressed person adds fuel to the fire. Being strong makes you extremely resilient to stress. Okay? No rest days. Ooh, hold on. I did that last time. Okay. Slideshow. Right? No rest days. If you're overtraining and not recovering, that's a stressor. Under eating calories. So many people come to us completely underestimating what they need to be eating, or they're stressed, so they naturally undereat, whether it's a poor coping mechanism. I'm stressed, therefore, the only thing that I can have control over is either eating nothing or eating too much, the poor coping mechanism, right? Or we were talking about this yesterday. When your body is in fight or flight mode, it's about to fight the bear. It's going to stop sending blood flow to non-essential organs and functions within the body that you don't need to fight the bear. So you're not thinking about eating because you're not going to stop and eat while you fight a bear. So your hunger cues are going to be gone. So you're going to forget to eat and you're not going to be hungry. And also your hormones as well. Because trust me, you're not going to want to have sex while you're fighting a bear unless, again, like you're a freak, like I said yesterday. That's a little interesting, though. You can't yuck somebody's yum. There's no yucking anybody's yum here. We do not judge, but just understandably, majority of people, they don't think about sex while trying to fight the bear. Okay? So hormones are down regulating. Here's a fun fact. Your hormones dictate your hunger cues. Leptin and ghrelin. Leptin, it keeps you feeling full. Ghrelin, think like ghrelin. Okay? So when I am super stressed out all the time, it doesn't matter if I'm being chased by a bear or not, makes sense that my hunger cues are all screwed up now. And I'm not hungry. And so now you're under eating. So a lot of times stressed people actually undereat a lot, which slows down their metabolism, which makes it significantly harder for them to be able to see results. And one of the reasons why they gain weight over a period of time. Their metabolism is slowed down because their muscle mass is down and they're just not eating. So it's going to survival mode. And because their metabolism slowed down, they go out and they just try to enjoy their life and not have to eat like a rabbit. But they put themselves in a huge calorie surplus. They're like, I'm just going to go enjoy this dinner with my significant other. But it's like a couple hundred calories, maybe like 600-700. But then accumulate that, like add that on top of what you've already eaten in that day. Now you're in a huge calorie surplus because your metabolism is low. And also because you were too stressed and you weren't hungry. Boom. You see how that works. You see how all that's tied together. Alcohol is another stressor. It's basically a poison that you put in your body. Can it be fun? Woohoo! But we have to understand that alcohol is a poison. It is. It is a stressor. Okay. Poor quality of food. If you're eating like a trash panda, too little macros or too little micros. So again, certain micronutrients the body needs, but proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, your body thrives off of a certain ratio. So if you're somebody that doesn't eat enough carbs, if you're somebody that doesn't eat enough fat, or if you don't have enough protein in, your body needs all three. It needs a well-balanced diet. Now that ratio, what that balance is completely dependent on the person, their goals, and their diet history and how their body works. but you do need a good ratio of proteins, fats, and carbs. One thing that most people are severely deficient in is protein. 90% of people that come to our door do not eat enough protein at all. Protein is essential to having enough muscle mass, which helps us be more resilient to stress, right? So we need to make sure that we're getting enough macros and micronutrients for our body to be healthy, happy, and also be more resilient to stress. Poor gut health, that's another thing that's a huge stressor. Poor hormonal health, that's a huge stressor. Not working out enough, that's a huge stressor. A sedentary lifestyle, if you're not moving, that's a stressor. Traveling is a stressor. Lack of sleep is a stressor. Being in pain, if you're aching in pain, you're not dealing with injuries or limitations, you're not working with somebody that can help you reduce pain. That puts a lot of stress on the body, a lot of inflammation. It also puts a lot of stress on your mind too. Sickness is another stressor. Dehydration, poor blood sugar regulation. We were just talking about that. Under recovering from your activity. Menopause is a stressor. Lack of sunlight is a stressor. These are just a few of the stressors that we have in life. There's a lot more. On the mind side of things, a fixed mindset. If you have a poor outlook in life, you're always looking for problems rather than solutions. You have a victim mindset where it's poor, woe is me. Things happen to me. Why does this always happen to me? That's a huge stressor. Poor relationship with food, poor relationship with self and body image. That is a stressor. Poor personal boundaries, poor coping skills, emotional instability, your inability to practice the skill to stay emotionally stable in stressful situations. That's a stressor. Surrounding yourself with people who drain your cup. If you're hanging out with people that complain all the time, don't push you to grow, don't see things in a positive outlook in life, it's kind of like, if you ever heard the analogy of crabs in a bucket, you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket and one starts trying to climb out, all the other crabs will start pulling it back down, right? Who are you surrounding yourself with is really important. Not prioritizing time for mental health. When was the last time you guys sat down and was just like, I'm just going to sit with my thoughts? No music, no people, no social media, no book, no TV, no stimulus, just me, myself, and I to downregulate, to just focus on breathing, to sort through my thoughts, feel the emotions that I have instead of running away from them. That's essential for mental health. Also, staying within your comfort zone. Remember, we need stress to change. If you want to become more resilient to change, you have to put yourself in positions that are going to challenge you mentally and physically to become more resilient to that change. But if you're always like, I like my bubble and I don't want to push out of it, guess what? You will never learn how to become more resilient to change. You will always become emotionally unstable. Right? So that's why a lot of people, ice buckets, like we're doing ice baths, not necessarily anything physical. It's just to train their brain to be okay with feeling uncomfortable. That's why they constantly choose to do things that challenge them mentally. Get out of their comfort zone because they know it'll make them mentally tougher and more resilient to stress because they're putting themselves in positions of practice. Just like if you go into back squat, the first time you try to back squat a weight, you can't do a lot because you're not used to it mentally or physically. But if you continuously put yourself in a position where you slowly progress to get used to that, you will increase those weights over a period of time. But if you stay within your comfort zone and you only do the weight that you are super comfortable with, you will stall, and that will cause stress on you. Your job is another stress. Family, death, drinking alcohol, holidays, divorce, what you consume. So social media, news, movies, books, etc. Those are all stressors. Now, again, this is a list that is not limited to this. If you guys can think of any other stressors, go ahead and put that in the chat box. Protein is my goal. It's hard not to use getting better. I feel like gymnastics. Yep. Sports does help a lot of people learn how to be more resilient to stress. You do see that. So again, these are things that subtract from your bank account. And this is very personalized to people. Some people struggle with these things. Some people don't struggle with these things on the list. Some people struggle with these things more. Like some things of these, like subtract more out of somebody's bank account than others. So some things for me that subtract on my bank account is my job for sure. I love it so much, but it can be extremely emotionally draining because I literally pour into every single person that I talk to. I talk about deep shit with people. I do not do surface level stuff. I give them everything that I have. So it does become emotionally draining. Versus some people that just jump on a call, it's very surface level stuff. It's not very emotionally draining for them. The other thing is sleep. Sleep is a very emotionally draining for me and very stressful for me because I spent 5 years of struggling with it. Now I pair anxiety with sleep. So I struggle with so much and I try to force it so much. Now I'm like anxious. I'm like, I'm never going to sleep. I should suck at it. I'm like trying to force myself. So I get like really stressed out about sleep. While other people, they're not stressed about sleep. Right? So it's very subjective. Now we're going to go into what are some things that add back into your bank account. So parasympathetic, that was sympathetic stress. Parasympathetic. What adds into your bank account? What fills that up? Go in the chat. Achieving goals, 100%. Sleeping, yes. Making a schedule, yes. Everybody thinks that having a plan or having structure is limiting, but it's actually really, really stress relieving. 100%. Eating enough calories, yes. Getting your protein, sleeping, 100%, Erin. What else? What else do you think adds into your bank account? Think physical and mental. Working out, yes, definitely. Food prepping, yes. For you, Stacy, it would be very, very helpful. Time with family, yes. Filling up your cup, getting connection with your loved ones, self-love, yes. Focusing on one activity at a time, not multitasking. Fun fact, we cannot multitask, does not work. Right? We actually have to start focusing on one thing at a time. Spa day, yeah, some me time. I love it. Spa day, pampering yourself, that's definitely a way. Self-care and priority, 100%. Have you guys ever heard of an everything shower? Where you just do everything. Like every little thing that you have to do for self-care for like, I don't know, like shaving your legs and doing your hair and doing certain things that make you feel very like men or like feeling masculine or women feeling feminine or whatever you feel you align with, right? Just like you feel like good when you come out of that door. Yeah. I love everything showers. It's awesome. 100%. Okay. So now we're seeing some things that add back into our bank account. So breath work. That is an evidence-based method to help you get into a parasympathetic state, right? Down regulating, rest, digest, breathe, and feed. Okay. Because remember, a response of being stressed is you start breathing heavily. And so if you start learning how to incorporate breath work into your day or bringing it out when you do feel stressed, all of a sudden you're starting to send signals to your brain to start kicking in the parasympathetic nervous system. Or a 2 breaths in and out. Why do you think breath work is so important in yoga practice? Because what it's trying to do is bring out the parasympathetic response. It's trying to recover because you're so stressed out all the time. Right? So breath work is an evidence-based method to help you reduce stress. Sunlight is another one. How many of you guys get super cranky and moody and get all the sads in the winter? Seasonal. depression syndrome, something like that. How many of you guys feel really grumpy in the winter when you don't get sunlight? Anybody? Yep, absolutely. Okay, great. Awesome. Same here. Okay, I get really cranky because you're not getting sunlight, dog. 1,000%, Danielle says. So when you get into sunlight, what that does, it releases serotonin. Serotonin makes you feel good. Okay, so getting sunlight, especially first thing in the morning to start off your day, all of a sudden you feel great. Walking, getting outside into nature. We're not meant to be indoors all the time. Good quality of foods, hydration, having a healthy body composition, right? When you are extremely overweight, that is a huge stressor on the body. Blood sugar regulation, making sure that you're not eating a bunch of sugar and that's it. Pairing proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and also having lots of fiber helps support good blood sugar regulation. Eating enough calories, macro and micronutrients. Again, under eating or overeating is not good for your body. Having good hormonal health, having good gut health, yoga, meditation, sleep. Some other ones are improving mental health, journaling, therapy, meditation. Okay, just learning how to be with yourself and just your thoughts. There's some people that they're like, I could never do that. I'm afraid of my thoughts. It's probably one of the reasons why you're so stressed out. You're avoiding the things that you need to be facing. Having a growth mindset, the belief that you are capable and you are worthy of change. You're a problem solver. When something happens, you're not like, oh, woe is me, I should just give up. I suck. You're like, frick, you know what? Life throws curveballs. Throw it at me, dog. Watch me crush it. Falling in love with the process instead of dreading it. Learning that nutrition fitness is the tool to help you live your best life. So you actually start enjoying doing it instead of trying to hate yourself into the body and the lifestyle that you want. Doesn't work. Reducing pain in the body. Spending time with your loved ones and family. Setting personal boundaries. Improving your inner circle. Contribution is a huge thing for people, just helping other people. A lot of times we get in our own thoughts and in our own selves that we forget that just doing something selfless for somebody else, whether it's volunteering or me giving free coaching calls or teaching your kids something new that they can keep for the rest of their life. Right? Contribution is a really great way to reduce stress and make you feel really great. Building muscle mass, going back to if we have more muscle mass, we could become more insulin resistant. And also every single time that you contract your muscles, releases what's called hope proteins. Hope proteins help you become more resilient to stress. It just makes you happier and more resilient to stress. That's why with our clients, I always say the more muscle mass that you have on your body, the better that you're going to look naked. It requires more muscle mass that you need, and it makes you AKA harder to kill. Non-negotiable for my stress people, we've got to be focusing on building muscle mass. Exposing yourself to mental and physical challenges, like I said before. If you're always staying in your comfort zone, you never grow. You never become more resilient to the stressors that you have in life because they're never going away. We know this. Time audits. Taking a step back. Some people, they feel overwhelmed. They feel like, I have no time. I don't know where to fit this stuff in. Time audits is looking at your day, writing down everything that you do, figuring out what are the big rocks, what are the medium rocks, what are the small rocks, what are some of those rocks that are non-negotiable, and what are those rocks that are negotiable or I can put off to another time. You're creating extreme amount of clarity. Just like I said, day number 1, there is no such thing as feeling overwhelmed. There isn't. It is just lack of clarity. You have not acquired the knowledge or the clarity that you need to make the decision. The answer is out there. Right? So time audits is one of the non-negotiable things I do with my busy people to make sure that they are actually using their time efficiently. And where are some places that you can improve on. I do time audits on a monthly basis, and I find ways to save time and money and effort every single time that I do it. Loving yourself into the body that you in life that you want, not hating. That's another one. Being picky about what you consume and who you surround yourself with. What kind of social media you're looking at. I'm not a fan of people demonizing social media. I'm not at all. I strongly believe that social media can actually be a tool to help you have a better mindset, to help you grow as a person, to help you achieve the goals. Social media is a tool just like anything else. The problem is most people don't use it correctly. They just watch shit. They follow accounts that don't help their mental health. Do you know how many accounts out there are just 100% geared towards improving your mental health? I follow a lot of them. I've learned a lot. I've acquired a lot of skills from the free information I got out there. Same thing with news. Same thing with books that you're reading, the TV, everything. Are you being extremely picky about what you consume? Because you are what you consume. Also, the people that you surround yourself with, that can be a huge stress reliever. Are you surrounding by people that inspire you, to push you to be your best self, to help you grow? That can be a huge stress reliever too. Right? So you see that stress is more than just, I have work stress and I have business stress and I have family stress. There's a lot more to it. But adding back into your bank account is a lot more than my perfect food that is going to add stress. There's no such thing as perfect food that is automatically going to reduce stress. There's so many different variables that go into it. What you see is that reducing stress or being too stressed, it's all about a balance between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Or we can think of it as a bank account. Okay, so let's say that in your bank account, you're pulling out a lot of money to save for a house. Okay, and that's non-negotiable. Just like in your life, you have business stress or work stress. It's non-negotiable. Family stress, non-negotiable. Okay, cool. So looking at all those lists that we just had, I'm going to go back to it, on what we can add back into it. Where can I add back in? Okay, so if I have work stress and I have family stress and I'm traveling right now, what things can I do to funnel back into my bank account to keep me out of debt? Well, I can still walk. That's doable. Okay, great. I can still get sunlight while I walk. Okay, great. I can focus on getting enough protein every single day. Okay, great. I can focus on, I can do yoga twice this week. Okay, great. You know what? I usually do high intensity, but I could probably pull back on high intensity and sleep more this week. Okay, great. So you see how it's a little less of black and white, one variable that's just going to fix all my problems. And it's more about, okay, where am I pulling out of and where can I add back in to help me keep my bank account nice and healthy? Okay. So if you're somebody that is trying to lose fat and look good naked, but you've been dieting your whole life, you've been pulling out of that debt for a long period of time. And because of that, you have a lot of hormonal issues. You have a lot of gut issues. You don't have a lot of muscle mass, right? You also are dealing with a lot of mental health issues or just not being resistant to stress because you don't have a good outlook in life and things like that. Well, you got to fix that shit first. You got to get yourself out of debt. Right? This is also what we call earning the right to diet. If you're stressed the F out, you've been dieting a long period of time, or you're just stressed out, period, from life in general, you are not ready to diet. Dieting is earned, not given. Just like, let's say when I was a personal trainer, okay, I would have clients that are like, I want to do a barbell back squat. I'm like, okay, cool. That's definitely something we can do. Just like, I want to diet. Okay, cool. That's definitely something that we can do. But I'm not going to put a barbell on your back right now. You don't even know where to put your feet at. If you don't even know where to put your feet at with an air squat, do you think putting a barbell on your back is going to be great for you? No. You're eventually probably going to get injuries. You're going to be feeling overwhelmed because you don't know how to do this complex skill because we haven't started with the basics. Your ceiling potential is going to be very low. And more than likely, sooner or later, you're going to give up because you don't have a solid foundation to build off of. When you go to build up, it crumbles. It is the same thing when it comes to looking better naked and thriving every single day. If you don't even know how to manage your stress, if you don't even know how many calories you're supposed to be eating, if you have hormonal issues, if you've gut issues, if you have poor relationship with food issues, if you don't have the skills, knowledge, and tools to be even doing the things you need to be doing, you don't even know where your feet are. And now you don't have a good foundation. So when you go to build up, it crumbles. Sounds a lot like yo-yo dieting. It is one of the reasons why when we start with every single one of our clients, we're always like, you have to earn the right to diet. We actually have an earn the right to diet checklist to make it super simple for our clients to know what they need to be doing in order to actually be successful so they don't fall off the wagon ever again. We have a zero tolerance policy in yo-yo dieting. I am not about it at all. If a client's coming in, I want them leaving with confidence that they're going to be able to do this for life. But for us to fulfill on that promise, we have to have a solid foundation. You have to earn the right to diet. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tell you the checklist so that way you guys can get awareness of what are some of the things that I need to be doing in order to get myself out of quote unquote debt. So that way I can start being more resilient to stress. I can manage my stress better despite being busy, despite life throwing curveballs, and I can actually get the results that I'm looking for. Okay. First thing is, oh, no, we skipped the first one. Here we go. First thing is being adherent, AKA consistent, right? So when we're thinking about consistency, we want to think about 80 to 85%. So that's about, on average, 6 out of the 7 days a week, or 4 to 5 missed days within the month. You're hitting your goals. That is determined as consistency. That is enough ratio for you to start seeing results without feeling like you have to be perfect every single day. You're not a robot, you're a human being. So being consistent at maintenance calories, so that means the calories that you're taking in is equating to the calories putting out, like your true maintenance, not I've been dieting forever and then my metabolism slowed down. And so this is the amount of calories that I have to eat without gaining weight. That is a poor metabolism. Okay, so true maintenance calories, you need to be in true maintenance calories for at least 12 weeks, and you need to pair that with a strength training program over a consistent period of time, at least 12 weeks, sometimes more. Because remember, if we are going to get out of a sympathetic state, you are stressed as fuck, you are losing muscle mass, you're holding on to fat mass, your hormonal health is going to crap, your gut health is going to crap, you're being met with resistance, you're not seeing the results that you're looking for, no matter how hard you try. The only way for you to get out of that is to put yourself in a parasympathetic state. That means rest, digest, heal, and recover. Do you think being in a calorie deficit that causes stress on the body is going to help you get out of debt? No. It's going to add fuel to the fire. You add strength training that adds muscle mass, that boosts your metabolism, also makes you more resilient to stress and regulates blood sugar and supports good gut health and supports good hormonal health. If we pair those together and give your body time to heal, do you think that you're going to create a solid foundation? Yes. Do you think it's going to be a lot easier for you to see results? Yes. cool thing is that our clients that follow this to a T, they already start seeing body composition changes. They start losing inches. They start looking more defined in the mirror. And that's without even being in a calorie deficit. A lot of times they're eating a lot more calories. We have clients that are seeing results that are eating 1,000 more calories. Don't be scared of that. It's wonderful. Okay. The next thing is going to be strength training consistently 3 to 5 times a week. Okay. I personally do strength training 3 times a week. There are some people that do more. There's some people that have never strength trained in their life and they're just doing 1 to 2 days a week. Right? But on average, strength training about 3 to 5 times a week consistently. And this is something that you do until the day you die. This does not go away. It actually becomes more imperative as you get older, especially as you age. You need to be incorporating strength training. One of the reasons why women, when they go through menopause, it is significantly harder is because they haven't been strength training going in. Estrogen drops. Estrogen helps maintain muscle mass and also keeps your bones nice and solid. So now women have a poor metabolism, their body's more stressed out, and then also getting in positions of osteoporosis, things like that. That's why women in menopause, it's a nightmare for a lot of them. Because going in, they don't have the tools and skills to be resistant to that. Right? Strength training is imperative, even more especially for women. Okay. Walking 8 to 10K steps a day. This is a good general goal. I like it because it's very quantifiable and it's solid. But if you are somebody that's only walking 2K steps a day, start with 3 to 4 and start moving the needle in the right direction. Okay. I walk anywhere from 8 to 10K steps a day, sometimes more active, sometimes I'm less, but on average, it is about 8 to 10K steps a day. Okay. And that is a decent amount for you to be in a position where you're not very sedentary. Okay. You're not being a couch potato. Okay. Getting 7 to 8 plus hours of sleep a night. Yes, 7 to 8 plus, ideally 8 plus. That's where we thrive. 7 is just kind of we're surviving. You're not gonna have huge implications, but I don't know about you guys, but I want to thrive. So my goal is continuously to get 8 plus of good solid sleep every single night. It is the magic pill to help you build muscle, to reduce stress, to support good hormonal health, gut health, to help you look better and naked faster, to reducing aging, to increase mental health. It is a magic pill that nobody's willing to take. Sleep, if you want to pour into anything to start with, it's sleep. It is amazing for you. Okay. Your digestion, that's a typo. My bad, guys. Digestion, hormones, and stress management is great. Again, if you have internal health issues, if you're stressed to the max, if your hormones aren't great, if your digestion is not great, you will be met with resistance. Your body is in survival mode. It is going to want to hold on to the fat. It is going to want to break down the muscle tissue, and it's going to be very resistant to create any change because it feels extremely unsafe. You've got to get yourself in a better position on those. One of the reasons why we dive into that with our clients, because we can give them all the fitness and nutrition, but if we don't address their internal health, it will always be met with resistance. Next thing is your why comes from a place of self-love and or respect. You have a growth mindset. Something that I like to geek about is mindset, because again, your mind, how you perceive life, how do you perceive things really does affect the stress that comes into your body, which does affect your hormonal health, gut health, metabolic health, how you look, and how you feel. But it also affects your ability to do the things you need to be doing in order to succeed. There's so many people out there that they're extremely hardworking. They're very successful in life. They want to create the change. They want to look good naked. They want to feel great. They want to contribute to their loved ones because they know how they treat themselves reflects onto everybody else, but they just haven't been able to follow through. Why is that? It's not a question if they're intelligent. They're extremely intelligent. It's not a matter if they're willing to work hard. They work hard in all areas of life. It's not a matter if they want it. I have people bawling on the calls with me. What's holding them back? Their mindset. You got to make sure that your mindset is away, or you are going to be your own bottleneck to your own goals, 100%. And you're going to just cause a lot of stress. You have an environment and tribe that supports your goals. Your environment has a huge impact in everything that you are and how you feel and how you perceive. You are the average of who and what you surround yourself with. If you have people surrounding you that make you feel like crap, you're in a crab bucket and the other crabs are pulling you down. They have a poor outlook in life. Trust me, you'll become the average of those people, no matter how hard you try. But if you're surrounding yourself with people that add to your cup, inspire you, to make you feel great and loved and appreciated, they're going to fill up your cup. You're going to reduce stress. And also your environment. We've all been in jobs that stress us out, right? Or does your kitchen support your goals? Or do you surround yourself with a bunch of trash panda food, like chips and cookies and all that stuff? And you're like, I'm trying not to eat this so much, but it's staring in my face. That's stressful. You're just stacking the cards against you. We have this saying in my place, if we seize it, we eats it, right? So does your environment support your goals? Do you have the basic skills, knowledge, and tools to be able to be consistent? Again, a lot of people are saying, I feel overwhelmed. That is a huge stressor. You feel overwhelmed because you don't have the skills, knowledge, or tools to do the things you need to be doing. You don't have clarity. Okay, meal prepping, tracking, but tracking in a way that's not stressful and doesn't add fuel to the fire and doesn't make you have a poor relationship with food. Are you able to adapt and adjust and be flexible? We're busy people and we're trying to use vehicles that are very restrictive, like meal plans and point systems and food, like lists of good foods and bad foods that become very restrictive. We can't live our life on it. We have to trap ourselves in a prison. It becomes very stressful. If you're willing to learn how to be flexible and adaptable and use a vehicle or a plan or like a regimen that supports you to live your life, you're going to reduce stress.